to season 2 of Geriatric Momma. We are so excited to have you here. Of course, I'm here with my girl, Claire Buchignani. Claire, you got some big news.
Ashley, I'm pregnant. Wow!
Not only are you pregnant, you're like very pregnant at this point.
I'm about to pop.
So full disclosure, we have been recording our episodes all over the place, and Claire is more pregnant now than she's probably been later in the season. So give us a little update. How are you feeling? Where are you?
I'm feeling great. Tomorrow it'll be 36 weeks, which is absolutely thrilling. I'm so excited.
You're there.
I'm there. I am there. Went through a whole move. So also for anyone who watches the Geriatric Momma as opposed to just listen, you'll see different backgrounds. Not that it matters, but I went through a whole move, but it's been amazing. And Ashley, you have been such an incredible beacon of support and advice and tips and everything. And I'm so thrilled for people to join in on this season because it's so good with all of the episodes that we've already recorded. I'm so excited for them to listen.
Well, I have to be honest. Well, thank you for that. You were such a great sounding board and support for me when season 1, when I was pregnant. So it's only right that I can be as big of a part of this experience for you as possible. Like, we're besties, so that's what we do.
Yeah, that is.
But recording this season has been so challenging in a very emotional and mental way for me because reliving everything it's just been a very interesting ride. There's been a lot of highs and a lot of lows, and I think that is very typical of becoming a new mom and going through pregnancy. And that's what we're here for, right? We're sharing these experiences. We are creating a community for women to talk about things that we don't usually get to talk about. For one reason or another, society puts all these stigmas on us as far as, you have a baby and you just move on with your life. But it does not work that way. At least it didn't for me. I'm thinking it didn't for most of the mamas out here. So, this first episode, I'm going to jump into my labor and delivery story, which was insane.
Yes.
But before we get into that, just a little housekeeping. So we did switch up our locations a little bit. But we also changed our title just a little bit. And now we're just Geriatric Momma. And you know what? There's a couple reasons why we did that. The first one is I wanted this to be as inclusive of a community as possible. So we've got geriatric mamas, we got younger mamas, we got mamas who gave birth, we got mamas who had C-sections, we have mamas who adopted their children later in life. So even though they didn't give birth or have a C-section or go through that whole process, they're still entering motherhood later in life. So there's so many different forms of being a mama that we wanted to make sure that this community was open to everyone. Also, we've got a little branding going on here.
Ooh, oh yeah, right there, baby. Ooh, look at that mug.
And we just wanted to make sure Geriatric Momma lived on for a very, very long time, as simplistic and beautiful as possible. So this will be coming to you very soon. Your favorite mugs, t-shirts, sweatshirts, and tote bags. So stay tuned. Geriatric Momma is growing. And we're growing with you and because of you. So thank you so much for tuning in and coming back for season 2. We are so, so, so excited.
So excited. It's going to be awesome.
So let's just jump into it. I think we should just jump into it. My labor and delivery story. So when we left off, I remember the last thing I kind of posted was me going into labor. And what happened is that day, I had been induced the day before. And what that means is that your OB is going to shove their hand all the way up and is going to scrape the mucus away from that cervix to induce, to cause you to go into labor. And I had that done about 6 p.m. the night before I actually went into labor. So around 1 p.m., I'm eating lunch with my family. I have my niece and my nephew, my mom, and my husband, Justin, is with me. And I'd seen on Instagram that if you eat spicy food, it might cause you to go into labor. Now, listen, you're going to see so much shit on social media. Take it with a grain of salt. Like, You don't
Yeah.
know what's what, you know. But I ate
Mm-mm.
a spicy chicken sausage, and girl, 15 minutes later, the contractions started. I kid you not. So I had to get up and walk
Okay.
because there was no way I could sit around. Yeah, I had to get
Mm-mm.
up and walk. So I go for a walk around the block with my kids, with my husband, and my contractions were never far apart. They started off, I think the longest apart they were maybe 4 minutes,
Oh
maybe
my
4 minutes.
God. Oh
So by the
no.
time I get around the block, my contractions are about 3 minutes apart. So I'm pacing back and forth in my courtyard, neighbors coming out. Oh, it looks like it's time. It looks like you're ready to go. And I'm like, yeah, shut the hell up. I'm like dying over
Yeah.
here, you know. But yes, thank you for the acknowledgement as well. I
Yes.
am about to go. So
Yeah.
we're walking back and forth, and my contractions get to about, I want to say about 2.5 minutes. Now, the rule of
You gotta
thumb, at least at my
go.
hospital, yeah, is once you have to be in labor for 2 hours at 2 minutes before you go to the hospital because it could be Braxton Hicks and you get there and they send you home.
Ugh.
But the way my labor was progressing, we were like, we have to go. And of course, I live in LA, so it takes me 35 minutes to get to the hospital where I'm
Mm-hmm.
delivering. And that's just baby traffic. So we got a little bit lucky with that. But we're in the car, I'm having contractions, but they're okay. You know, they're not as hardcore. They're painful, but not as hardcore. And let me just say this, people, including myself, are always like, what does a contraction feel like? This is what I can give you, okay? Full disclosure.
Lay
It
it on
feels like
us.
someone has taken your organs and put them in a vice or a press and is just tightening as hard as they can and then releasing.
Oh,
That's what I can give
shit.
you.
Can't wait.
That's what it felt like to me. Oh yeah, it's
Great.
gonna be fun, girl. So we're in the car, we're on the 101 trying to get through traffic, and I play some music because I remember, Claire, you're like, oh, are you going to do a playlist at the hospital? I was like, no, I'm not
Yeah.
doing a playlist. But then I'm in the car and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is actually helping me. You know, I'm counting, I'm breathing. And let me just say,
Good.
the breathing doesn't take the pain away, it just mentally helps you get through it. So don't think that the
Mm-hmm.
breathing is a painkiller. It's just like a mind number. We'll call the breathing a
Mm-hmm.
mind number.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in the car, things are going good, and then bam, I get a contraction that changes my entire world. It like sets my life on a different path that I never imagined before. Like just
Oh my
completely
God.
changed me as a person. And I
Yeah.
think that I felt my cervix open. I could be acting very dramatic right now, but that's exactly how it felt.
I
And
believe
I
you. I believe
I didn't know
you.
what to do. I just didn't know what to do. So I'm in the car. We get to the exit on the highway, and my Google Maps switches up, and we miss our exit. So that adds another 3 minutes to the commute. And in my world at this point,
No.
another 3 minutes is another 1 to 2 contractions at this point. My husband is
Yeah.
freaking out because he missed the exit. I'm like, look, don't be so hard on yourself. Just get me to the damn hospital, or we're going to have the baby on the 101.
Yes.
So we get to the hospital, we pull up to the emergency room or the emergency entrance, and that's when things get a little foggy for me because the contractions are real. They're like hitting at maybe 2 minutes or less at this point. So my husband jumps out of the car. The security guard is standing there. My husband's like, my wife is in labor. And the security guard is, oh, you guys need a wheelchair? He's like, yes, I need a wheelchair. She's in labor. He's just
Like, let's
completely freaking
go.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, what do you mean, do we need a wheelchair? But he's probably seen this a million times before at this point, right? So all I remember at this point, and I'm telling you, it gets very foggy for me at this point. I put one leg out of the car and my water breaks. And when my water breaks, it's not like on TV where it's like a water balloon. It's like someone turned on an internal faucet and it's just going. And I'm like, oh my gosh, should I get out of the car? Like, I'm like bobbing and weaving back in and out of the car. Justin pulls up with the wheelchair. I plop down in the wheelchair. The water's still breaking. And I just remember being pulled backwards into the hospital. And I see my car getting further and further away. But the driver's door is open, the passenger door is open, the trunk is up, my water bottle's on top of the car, our hospital bags are sitting on the ground. in front of the tire, and I'm just like, oh my God,
Oh my
this is everything they said
god.
wouldn't happen. It's like a movie, and everyone said it's nothing like a movie. So we
Yours
get in the
was.
hospital. It like the Oscar goes to, okay? That's what I'm
You.
talking. It was a full
Yes.
on feature. So we get in the hospital. The lady at the front desk is like pointing because she's on the phone. She's like, the pregnancy, delivery ward is over there. And we rush. We get there. No shade. We love our nurses, but they were just chilling too hard at that front desk for where we were at this point in
Mhm.
our lives. And it's COVID. COVID's still going on. And so we had to switch the mask that we had on. The nurse finally comes out. I'm there a day early, so I don't think my room was ready, which is why there was a little bit
Right.
of a pause in getting me back there. But the nurse comes out. She drops the thermometer. It explodes. The batteries go flying, and I'm trying to breathe. I'm like, if she doesn't take my damn temperature so I can get back there, all I'm thinking about at this point is my epidural. That's
Yes.
all I want.
That's
So
all
I
you want.
finally get back there, and that's all I want. It's what I needed, Claire. It's not even, it was a need, not even a want. So I get back there to the triage room, and they start stripping me down and putting a gown on. Then all these nurses start coming in. They're like, "Oh, girl, you're gonna be okay. This is your first baby. You're gonna be here for a while." And I'm like, "I don't think so," but I can't even verbalize anything at this point. I'm nonverbal at
Sure.
this point. So
Yeah,
that's
you're in
why
so
it's
much
so great to have your
pain.
partner there who
Mhm.
knows, yes, the pain, and it's increasing, because honestly at this point your cervix ideally is just opening and opening, and with every contraction that's what you're feeling. So it was great to have Justin there, and it's going to be great that you have your husband there or your partner there who hopefully you've communicated with, and they know what you want, because that's really when they come in handy, because they can say, well, let me tell you what my husband had to tell the nurses was no jokes allowed. If she hears or sees anyone laughing, she's going to explode. And of course,
Mhm.
the one black nurse that came in the room made a joke, and she had to go. I was like, no, you're out. I'm in pain. I don't want to
Oh,
laugh.
no.
She was
Oh.
out. So
She was out.
and she knew it too. She was like, "Oh, she didn't like that joke I made," and my husband was like, "No,
No,
she didn't."
ma'am.
And then
No, she did
I
not.
never saw her again. So she knew. She just kind of
Mhm.
left the room. I didn't see her again. So you have to have an anesthesiologist to give you the epidural, and I wasn't in
Right.
my room yet, so they just started giving me a shot of fentanyl, which you hear it and you're like, "Oh," but it's a regular thing. But it did
Yeah.
nothing for me. I was so far along with my pain. And at that point in the triage room, I was examined, and I was already at 6 centimeters by
Oh
the
my
time I
god.
got to the hospital. So I've gone through all this with no painkiller at all. And my number one thing was I didn't want to feel the contractions. I wanted to be numbed up from the beginning. So
Yep.
I'm already at 6 centimeters. I'm in the triage room. I probably have 2 shots of fentanyl. Everyone can see how much pain I'm in, and they're trying their best to get this process done as quick as possible. But, honestly, it just doesn't matter when you're having contractions. Nothing is going to satisfy you until you get the epidural, if you choose to get the epidural. If you
Mhm.
don't, I don't know how, I don't know why, but God bless you. That's all I can say about that. So finally, they flip me over onto the bed. I go into the delivery room, and the anesthesiologist comes in and he gives me an epidural. Now, it's a pretty intense process, but I have to say, at this point, I was in so much pain that having the needle shoved in my spine felt
Didn't
like
matter.
heaven. I was like,
Yeah.
get it in there and let's go. But
Mhm.
my first one did not take. My first epidural did not take. And by
Why?
then, that doctor had left. It's just something that happens sometimes. Sometimes
Ugh.
I don't know the medical reasons, but I know it's common that you can have an epidural and it just doesn't take. And
Mm.
because COVID was going on, it's short staffed at the hospital. So it
Mhm.
took another couple hours before I could get another epidural. And by time I could get the second one, I had already been dilated 9 centimeters. You only go up to 10 centimeters before you
Mm-mm.
start pushing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really lucky because there comes a point where they won't even give you an epidural anymore. So I think I slid in right under the door with that. So the second guy
Wow.
comes in, he's pretty cool and chill. He gives me the second epidural and it kicks in like 5 minutes later. And oh my God, it really does take the sharpness off of those contractions. Like I didn't really
Oof.
feel them very much anymore at all after that.
Oh, good.
And I was just I the according to my husband, my color came back in. I was able to talk
Mm.
and chat.
Mm-hmm.
I called my mom. I was like, my first epidural did take. All right, I just like
Oh, Ashley.
I just
Yeah.
and then I started getting this sensation of push. Now those are
Mm.
two completely different things. The contraction pain and the pushing sensation, those are completely separate. And I will full disclosure, when it's time to push, it feels like you're a little backed up, you know what I mean? And you just gotta
Yeah.
push,
You just got to get it out there.
literally. So I start, you have to, like, or you're just going to explode. So I start pushing, and my OB's not there quite yet. And the nurse is like, "Are you pushing?" Because she can see it on my face. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"Yeah, I'm pushing." And she's like, "Oh, no, don't push yet." And I'm like, bitch, I'm pushing. I cannot sit here anymore. So I just start pushing. I'm like, whoever is going to catch the baby is going to catch him because I'm pushing at this point.
Assume the
And my OB
position.
comes in, assume the position. Now, all of this has happened in 6 hours. I went into labor starting at 1:30,
Mm-hmm.
and I pushed for 30 minutes, and my son was born at 8:30. So all these people who
Wow.
tell you, "Oh, it's your first baby. You're going to be in labor for maybe days." Sure, that's a
Yeah.
possibility, but from beginning to end for me was 7 hours. I went into labor and I
That's
had the baby
so
7 hours
fast.
later.
That's so
It's so
fast.
fast. And there's
Wow.
just no way. You don't know how it's going to go for yourself. So
No.
you have to be as flexible mentally as possible, which is so hard because you're already balancing all these other things that you're going through physically, mentally, and emotionally.
Oh,
But I have
yeah.
to tell you, the pushing, it was a little scary because I guess my blood pressure dropped, so then they had to put an oxygen mask on.
Oh,
But
wow.
after that, I pushed 5 times, Claire. 5 times, and the baby was here. And then
Wow.
they took him out and they cleaned him up. Oh, before he came out, my doctor, she's so funny. She's like, "Hey, do you want a mirror so you can see him come out?" And I was like, "Hell no, I don't want to see that. No, I don't."
No
My
thanks.
husband did my husband did cut the cord, which was a really beautiful moment. And then
Oh,
they took little Jetson James out, and it's really insane to look over and just see your child.
yeah.
And it's a it's such an incredible moment. You can feel the
Hmm.
miracle energy in the room. And the
Yeah.
one of the best memories I have of that is my husband looking at me. He's, you did it, boo. You had a baby. You did it. You did the thing that scared you so much. You just did it." And it was such a relief in that moment. And to hear him cry is such a gorgeous experience. I can't, the words aren't even there. It's just the
Hmm.
energy in the room is so insane because you just gone through something for me that honestly felt quite traumatic because it was the opposite of everything that I wanted
Right.
out of my labor and delivery experience. I packed bags. I never even went into them. I was going to set some crystals down. I was going to set the mood. It was going to be nice and easy breezy flowing
Didn't
until I had to get
happen.
in there. No, it was pure chaos from the moment I ate that damn spicy sausage. Okay.
Wow.
But he was here. They put him on my chest.
Mm.
I was, able to feed him right away, which was nice. That's not everyone's experience, but that was my experience. And then I was a mom. But the thing
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting was, and this is kind of like, I don't know, it felt gross to me. But it's like when I looked up, I just could see like just like the blood that you lose when you have a baby, and that's just
Ugh.
so natural, right? It's so normal. But I was like, I don't want to see this shit. Like, somebody please come clean my room up. I don't want to see it. And that is
Mm.
something that sticks with me. And my mom, she tells me, she was like, listen, when you give birth, it changes you, not only mentally, but physically too, because yeah, you just brought a child into the world one way or the other. And it's going to kind of be a little bit of a mess. But
Yeah.
when I think back on it now, I do feel a little trauma from it. But I also feel so encouraged that I was able to do the one thing in my life that has completely scared the shit out of me. And
Mhm.
that is what a mama is. A mama comes through and does what needs to be done. And
Mhm.
that's exactly what you're going to do, Claire. Your experience is going to be your experience. All the mamas out there, your experience is totally your experience. And at the end
Yeah.
of it, you're going to be a mama, which is one of the strongest forces in the entire universe. So no matter how your labor and delivery plays out, know that you are a total boss and that
Mhm.
you are bringing life into the world and you're totally capable of doing it no matter how it goes down. Okay? So be encouraged. Don't take my story on as your own because I feel like the universe just has a way of kind of making fun of me sometimes. And this was one of those occasions. Um, but yeah, make sure you communicate with your partner so that they can be your voice when you
Mm.
can't speak up. And I mean, you can pack a hospital bag, but don't overdo it because you might not get to use any of the shit that you put in there in the
You
first
didn't get to put out your
place.
crystals. I'm so
I did not
sad.
put out my crystals. I did eat the snacks that I put in there
Oh,
because
that's
the
good.
hospital food, you eat 3 times a day. But when you're pregnant, you're used to, well, I was eating all damn day. So to have three
Mhm.
little meals that felt like they were low calorie meals, I was like, pull out the chips, the crackers, all the stuff. I
Mhm.
did have some vitamin water because you are exhausted, and I don't think it
Sure.
hurts to have some electrolytes. So that's something you
Absolutely.
might want to put in your bag.
Replenish. Yeah.
And because of COVID, we weren't allowed to leave the room, so we were just in there for two,
Mm.
3 days straight, just the two
Mhm.
of us and our little baby. But it was wonderful. It really was.
Oh. And he really
And I
is
will say the
absolutely perfect.
epidural, he is right. He's so cute.
Mhm.
But I will say
He
that the
is.
epidural helps you with the pain afterwards because it doesn't wear off for a couple hours. And
Oh, that's
honestly, I
nice.
don't think you want to feel what's going on down there afterwards. So
Nope.
I think that it lingers just long enough to get through the rougher part.
I'm so proud of you. You faced your fears, Ashley, and
Thank you.
it might not have been exactly what you wanted the experience to be, but you were an absolute rock star. And I mean, you did most of your birthing story without like pain medication. And I know that that was like one of your biggest fears.
Ugh,
And you're
it
such a
was.
force to be reckoned with. And it's amazing. Like, that's incredible. I know it wasn't exactly what you
Yeah.
wanted, but I mean, just hearing you talk about it, and I mean, look at you. You're on the other side. You have this absolutely incredible son. And yeah, like, how
Yeah.
I hope you're like,
Yeah.
how does it feel now to be able to look back on it in almost a year later ish? I mean, we're
Yeah,
getting
almost a
there,
year later.
but
We're
close.
getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um it's it's still kind of hard to look back because I know that it didn't go the way that I wanted and I'm a
Hmm.
control freak. But but I do have to remind myself and all the mamas out there have to remind themselves that we did it.
You did it. Yeah.
And it wasn't the end of the world like I had built it up to be. And
Yeah.
honestly, I feel like I had almost a natural childbirth experience. I was drugged up when it was time to push, so I have no idea what it's like to push without the meds. But to get dilated all the way up to 9 centimeters with absolutely no help from medication,
You
that
did
was
it.
rough. That was
Yeah.
really rough. So it's amazing what you can do, despite what you think you can. You know what I mean? Like we
Hmm.
put these limits on ourselves physically and mentally, and you just be surprised what you can actually do. And I was surprised that I was able to make it through that. And even to the point where I'm like, maybe I would have another kid. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, but I know that I could get through it, you know. Do I want to feel all that
100%.
shit again? No.
No.
But I know that I could. And I guess the message I want to leave with all the mamas out there and their partners that are watching, that are listening, is that you can get through it. Be
Mhm.
flexible with your expectations. Make sure you have an advocate there with you who can communicate for you when you are maybe focused on your breathing or you're in pain and you just can't talk. And just know that you're going to get to the other side of it. It doesn't last that long. In fact, it's really the shortest part of your whole pregnancy experience, if you
Mm.
think about it. You're pregnant for almost 9 months, and your labor and delivery, in my situation, was 7 hours. For some people, I mean, one of the nurses told me she was in labor for 22 hours and then had to have a C-section.
Oof.
So everyone's story is completely different, but think about how short that part of your whole pregnancy experience truly is. And just, stay focused on that. And you'll get through it. You will get through it. And I'm so glad that I could finally get that story off my chest and share it with all of our viewers and listeners. And now I can put it in a book on the shelf and push it away.
That's right. Absolutely.
Well,
we're proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm thankful that I'm here. I'm thankful for everyone who's joining us. I'm thankful for you, Claire. We're sending you all the best energy as you go into this next chapter in your life. I know you got this, and I hope you know you got it. You have a great partner. You guys, it's going to be a great experience for you. And you will get on the other side of it as well, I promise.
Can't wait.
Yeah. So thank you all for listening. As always, Claire, we will talk to you again very soon. For everyone else, take care of yourself, mind, body, and spirit. We'll see you next time.